Welcome to episode 2 of After the Storm. My name is Oscar, and this episode is recapping Carolina's 3-2 win over the Washington Capitals in overtime. Of course, coming into the game, we had Brock McGinn's history of scoring that OT winner last year in Game 7. We have the Tom Wilson, Rod Brind'Amour fiasco from the preseason. And we also have James Reimer starting against Braden Holtby. First period starts off much like the Montreal game from before it. Carolina comes out really hot, lots of chances, but Braden Holtby on top of his game for sure to start. Reimer wasn't too bad to start either, although he did look shaky later on in the period. 3 big chances for Carolina to start the game though. Joel Edmondson gets a great shot off the post and gets a second chance, but Holtby's there. Martin Necas gets a breakaway and he's stopped by Holtby. After Jonas Siegenthaler takes an interference call and Andrei Svechnikov, Tom Wilson gets a great chance on a close breakaway, but Reimer's there to make the save. Erik Haula got a penalty early in the first period as well, but just like the first game, Joel Edmondson had some really good penalty killing work in this one too. The third big save of the period, Sebastian Aho had a breakaway and he was also stopped by Braden Holtby. Late in the first period though, a bad giveaway by Joel Edmondson at the half boards. Edmondson tries to play it out to Erik Haula, who's half skating away. Brendan Leipsic, I think, gets like a skate on it, deflects out. Garnet Hathaway gets the puck out of the corner. He has a wide open lane, walks right in. Great snipe over Reimer's shoulder. He had no chance on it, and the Caps lead 1-0. Nino Niederreiter takes a slashing penalty to end the period, and Ovechkin gets a great chance right towards the end of the period, but Reimer stops it. Notice in the first 10 or so minutes of the first period, Carolina came out flying just like they did against Montreal, but team they're playing against makes that adjustment, starts slowing the game down, and really just opens up the holes in Carolina's game. It was a real strong period for Carolina. They had tons of chances. They just couldn't bury any. Holtby again in the second period as it started. He was really good again, making tons of saves. Holtby was really good to start the second period as well. He was making tons of saves, seeing that puck beautifully everywhere. The Aho, Niederreiter, and Teravainen line to start the season has been so good with their puck movement. They just haven't been able to get back in the puck in the back of that net. They had another great chance here in the second period, and Holtby made a great save on it as well. Jakub Vrana coming down the wing. He takes a shot, and Reimer shouldered it up. Just bounced weirdly, came down. TJ Oshie, credit to him, great stick. He made sure it was down below his shoulder. He batted it down into the crease. Reimer lost sight of it. It crossed the line. After review, it's a good goal. Caps lead 2-0. This is where Reimer got a little bit shaky in his game. He was just second-guessing what he was doing. He was out of position. He wasn't tracking the puck so well. And it looked like the Caps were really just going to start pulling away in this game. The penalty troubles for Carolina continued throughout the game. Necas took a tripping penalty on TJ Oshie. On that power play, Ovechkin and Backstrom had 2 great chances, but Reimer came up big, made the saves. On that power play, Garnet Hathaway with his second goal of the game. However, upon review, it was determined Brendan Leipsic interfered with James Reimer, and the goal was waved off. Aho and Foegele had 2 great chances toward the end of the second period. A nice little play by Edmondson down the half boards. Watched it in all the way. A great pass across. Foegele got that tip, but Holtby sees it. Stops the first one and then picks the other one right out of midair. Another penalty. Svechnikov just a little too careless with his stick. It's been a problem. It was a problem last year as well. He brings that stick over when he should just keep that stick down. And he ends up high sticking. On the power play, Carlson took a shot. Great save by Reimer to end the period. Caps lead 2-0 going into the third. In the second period there, Reimer looked shaky again. Penalty troubles are becoming an issue, especially in this game. Was noticing that the Canes were finessing the puck a little too much, trying to not making the simple play. On one of the power plays, Aho made a couple really bad passes that just led to turnovers. Just cross rink stuff, saucer passes, stuff where put it into the corner, wrap it around, something like that. A little easier, a little bit more sure, even if you lose the puck. And lastly, the second period, just like the period against Montreal, it was a very weak period for the team. Defense obviously was a little bit of an issue, more of an issue against Montreal than here. They were still playing good. Obviously only down 2-0 is pretty good heading into the third. However, it is against Washington, one of the better teams in the league. Third period starts and Radko Gudas gets a call early. A bit of a weak call, actually. I think it was on Dzingel. Bit of a weak call, just kind of, it's about owning the ice, but not something I would ever look at and assume is a penalty, but they called it, and the Canes go to the power play. On the power play, great puck work between Hamilton, Svechnikov, Teravainen. A nice little triangle play. Hamilton to Svechnikov, right across the ice to Teravainen, and he almost just one-taps it right over to Haula on the doorstep. Haula gets his second goal in as many games for the Canes, and it's 2-1. The third period really was where Reimer shined. He really just turned it on, and he was just making save after save and keeping the Canes in it. Canes had a couple chances on the power play, but nothing much. Holtby made another great save. A little later on, a great save by Reimer off of Alexander Ovechkin. Ovechkin gets the puck in the slot. He spins off Jakub Slavin and gets this backhander away, but Reimer right there tucks it in right against his body. A great save by Reimer there on one of the best shooters, if not the best shooter in the NHL. Later on, Jakub Slavin starts a breakout in his own end. He makes a pass over to Jordan Martinook. Comes into the zone. Another pass over back to Slavin. He gloves it down right in front and just chips it through. It gets right under Holtby's blocker, and we're tied up at 2. Right toward the end of the period, Jakub Vrana coming down the wing. He gets a shot off. It's not too unsimilar to the Yoshi goal earlier. It goes right off the post, but right back out. A little skirmish in front of the net between Eller and Edmondson. High sticking penalty to Eller. And a holding the stick call to Edmondson, and we go to some 4-on-4 hockey to end regulation. Holtby and Reimer trade saving opportunities, one on Leipzig, one on Niederreiter, and for the second time in as many games, we're heading off to overtime. So recapping the third, I thought the Canes made a great adjustment. They were way better offensively in that period for sure, and that's what they did the same thing against Montreal. They just made that adjustment to control the play again, just like they did in the beginning of the first. And, you know, as a team like Washington or any team coming into the third period with a lead, if you just sit back and you're slow and you try to slow the pace down, at a certain point it's going to catch up to you. And it does. And it's happened for 2 games in a row now to teams the Canes have been playing. Start OT, Stahl takes a penalty early on Nicholas Backstrom. He goes off, so it's 4-on-3 power play for the Caps. And on that power play, James Reimer makes about 4 great saves off of Karlsson, Ovechkin, Backstrom, and even Dmitry Orlov. The play at the Carolina blue line, just as we go back to 3-on-3, Gardner grabs that puck, brings it down, skates through the zone. He's got a wide open lane to shoot, and he actually snipes it clean off the post, just under Holtby's blocker, and the Canes win 3-2 in overtime. Jake Gardner's first goal as a member of the Carolina Hurricanes, and only his second game was a game winner, and the Canes are 2-0-0 to start the season. Recap in the game, I thought the third period adjustment the Canes made, as I mentioned previously, was great, and that led to being able to get back in the game down 2-0 entering the period. It did not look good coming into that period, and they made a great adjustment to get back into it. I thought Jakub Slavin was the best defenseman on the Carolina side. Great game from Gardner as well, but Slavin made that great play toward the end of the third to get the game tied up. Sorry, the midway point of the third to get that game tied up. I thought Martin Necas again for his second game. I thought he was excellent. He had lots of chances. The top line of Carolina again, Aho, Niederreiter, Teravainen rather, they were really good as well. They just can't get that puck in the net yet. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Optimus Rhyme. James Reimer had an incredible debut as a member of the Carolina Hurricanes. That third period especially, that was all him. There's no way the Canes are anywhere near tying that game if he's not as stellar as he was. In the next game, Sunday night against the defending President's Trophy champions, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Of course, we're going to get to see Carolina take on their former backup goaltender from last year, Curtis McElhaney, and Peter Mrazek will be back in net for the Canes. That's about it for the game. If you liked the video here, please consider dropping a like. If you really want more of this content throughout the season, by all means, go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell. You'll get it as soon as the video uploads. And lastly, thank you for watching.